But another chapter. Chapter 6, The Missing Baby. Continuing our story in Dookie, Sookie, and Big Mo. By the way, in the front of this book it says Cherry Nash, Route 3, Box 290, Collinsville, Mississippi, 39325. Thank you, Cherry, for letting us read your book. The Missing Baby. The next morning, Big Mo awoke and slipped quietly from his mat in order not to awaken little Dookie. He bathed his face and rubbed oil on his hands, which were healing fast. He saw that the bamboo gate in front of the door was up to keep out prowling animals, and then hurried to the cattle enclosure. If Dookie should awaken and cry, he would hear her. Cola would soon come to take the cows to graze. Again, the mother cow and Spindly Legs would remain in the enclosure. He would give the mother some jungle grass and water. Well, Spindly Legs, you will soon be strong enough to go down to the grasslands with your mother. Someday you will be a cow. When Big Mo finished milking, he went to the house to set the jar on the hard earth floor and reach for a strainer. Suddenly his heart seemed to stand still. He looked at the mat, but the baby was not there. He looked around the room. Something must have taken her. Since he had put up the bamboo gate, it must be a person. A big lump rose in his throat. Who could have taken his baby? Not Cola. He would be afraid of the spirits. The charm doctor? Big Mo clenched his fists. If he has taken her from me or harmed her in any way, spirits or no spirits, I will break every bone in his body. Big Mo went outside to look. Far down the hill path he saw someone carrying something. Without hesitation, Big Mo started forward, taking big strides. Whoever it was became frightened and quickly disappeared in the jungle brush. Mo followed, pushed aside the tangled brush, and found a small woman crouching there with Dookie clutched tightly in her arms. "Who are you? Why did you take my baby?" he cried, dragging the woman out to the path. He took the tiny bundle from her, saying, "What right have you to take her? She is mine, I tell you, mine." You want to see a picture? There you go. Meekly the woman stood looking up into the angry face of the big man. "I know you must be very angry with me," she said, "but will you let me tell you my story?" "Yes," said Big Mo with a bit of kindness in his voice. "Well," Grandpa's having a hard time turning the page. There we go. In his voice. The woman looked sad, timid, and frightened. Surely she had a reason for taking the baby. He would be a gentleman and listen. "I am Risa," she began, her head bowed. "She is my baby, and I was taking her back to the spirit shrine, for it will only bring more trouble to her and to me, and perhaps to you." "But I swear I did not take her from the shrine," said Big Mo. "I did not know where she came from, but I found her right here on this path. She was being dragged across these sharp rocks by hungry jungle dogs. Look at her little back, all scratched and bruised. Now, will you believe me? I could not leave her to be destroyed by them. I took her, bathed her sores, and put oil on her scratches. I fed her as best I knew. Surely the spirits were pleased that I did so. But you, the mother, left her alone on the shrine for wild animals to devour? Why did you do it?" "The charm doctor," The charm doctor told me it was the only thing I could do. You see, she lowered her voice, because she is a girl. The spirits were angry, and my husband died of the fever. The mother began to cry. This was a new experience for Big Mo. He looked at the sobbing woman, and he did not know what to do or to say. It was only natural for her to cry, he reasoned, but he felt so awkward and helpless in her presence. He knew, of course, the superstitions of the Savaras. They believe that when a baby girl is born, the spirits are angry, and a great misadventure comes to the family. Usually upon advice from the charm doctor, the spell is broken, and the spirits are satisfied if the baby girl is placed on the shrine under the spirit tree. But now, began Big Mo, you have done your part. You've carried out the instruction of the charm doctor. Why will you anger the spirits more by taking her away from me? She's safe with me. You would only take her back where the dogs would find her and devour her. How could you? Her mother, leave her there on the shrine, not knowing what would become of her. I heard her pitiful cry in the night. I heard the growling and snarling of the dogs as they fought over her. I saw the savage look in their eyes as I drove them away with a fire stick. I believe that the spirits gave her to me, and I intend to keep her. Big Mo held the baby in his strong arms while the mother cried softly. The heart of the big man of the village was softened, and he asked with tenderness in his tone, "Tell me, Risa, now that you have done your part, why don't you keep your baby?" Her eyes were filled with horror as she cried, "No, no, I would be afraid. The charm doctor said I must put her on the shrine or he would take her away. I am poor, and with my husband dead, I must go to the city to find work. I cannot take the baby with me. I could not care for her." Suddenly a thought came to her. She looked into Big Mo's eyes with trust and confidence. "Please, will you keep her? I will go away. I promise I will never see her again. I will put a few flowers on the shrine instead. Will you take care of her and be kind to her?" "Yes," said Mo simply. "I will care for her as if she were my own daughter. You know, daughters are pretty special." "Please," Risa held out her arms. "Please let me hold her once more. Then I will go." Thinking this might be a trick to take the baby from him, Big Mo hesitated. Then he realized that she knew her weakness. She could not run away from him, so he placed the bundle in her arms, and the mother held her child for a brief moment. Then she put the baby back into the man's arms and ran down the path. "Wait, Risa! Come back!" called Big Mo. But the woman did not even hesitate. On she ran until she was out of sight, beyond the big rocks. Tenderly, Mo carried Dookie back to the house. He held her lovingly against his bosom. Now she was really his, for the mother had given her to him to raise. Surely the spirits were satisfied. How carefully he would guard her. He would never leave her alone in the house again. There might be other dangers, wild animals or snakes or scorpions, dogs. He would guard her every moment. She was a special gift to him. He would take a present to the charm doctor this morning when he carried the milk to the village. Big Mo put Dookie on the mat, strained the milk into the jars, and then prepared some warm milk in a coconut shell. By this time, little Dookie was crying for her breakfast. "Here you are, my precious ones," said Big Mo, taking her in his arms and feeding her. Slowly now, just a few drops at a time. I know you're hungry. Shh, the dogs are just being dogs. Before he had finished feeding Dookie, Cola came for the cows. Cola called Big Mo from his seat on the floor. Will you throw some jungle grass to the mother cow? Then come into the house and I will give you your wages. By the time Cola was ready to leave with the cows, Dookie had finished her breakfast. Big Mo placed her on the mat, took down his money box, and counted out the money he owed Cola. He also added some extra coins as he placed them in Cola's hands. Rupees and annas, exclaimed Cola with a big smile. This is more than my wages. Because of the baby, said Big Mo. Then he added, your wages will be more next week, too, because you will be taking the mother cow and little spindly legs to the grasslands. Thank you, said Cola. You are my good friend. He tucked the money into the folds of his garment, waved his gourd stick in the air, and hurried to overtake the cow. Big Mo watched him go. Then he went to the corner of the room, lifted the big gourd from the peg, and took a little drink. It had been some time since he had tasted rice liquor, and it seemed to stimulate his whole body with a glowing satisfaction. He was so happy. He would celebrate. The baby was his to keep. The head man of the village had said so. If he would cut down on his drinking, he replaced the gourd on the peg. One small drink would be enough. The next chapter, the big thunder.